Move. I'm gay, and it's my month. Happy Pride Month.
Welcome to Gay Talk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
You know, I can't stand you some days, but, you know, it is what it is. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back. It's June 1st. It's officially Pride Month, first day of Pride. I'm excited. There's so much, going on right now, or there's so much that's going to be going on throughout the course of this next month that it's just going to be exhausting and amazing and all. I can't wait. Anyway, welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of Gay Talk 2.0, an LGBT podcast. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel for all of our Patreon supporters on the day of recording, while everyone else gets that recording the week after. My name is Tom, and I'm your host. And as always, I'm in the studio with my amazing co-host.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And I can't say starting with the first one because the other one is stuck somewhere in the Caribbean. He's in Puerto Rico right now. And, he's doing his thing.
I don't think he's stuck.
No, he's not stuck. But, he's stuck. I mean, he's out there hoeing around, but that's all right. So he's drinking gin and juice. That's what you do. Mm-hmm. He's having meetings. He's having board meetings at a bar while we're sitting here on the show.
I know.
But in Jay's absence, we do have someone who's very dear to me joining us on today's episode. It's my dear good friend, Sabrina Owen, who's sitting in studio with us today. And she's going to, take the mic over for Jay. And we're going to talk a little bit about her story, which, by the way, is amazing. This woman is someone who uprooted her entire existence for the sake of her child. And it's a beautiful story, and we're definitely going to get into that later on. But why don't we start with a quick roundtable? So, Nick, I'll throw it over to you first.
Yeah.
How the hell are you? You had an eventful day today.
I did. I'm good. I'm just really busy. And then this week it launches Les Mis, and it's Tuesday through Sunday. And then next week is Gala. So I'm pretty much hard up until June 12th. June 14th, potentially. But today we had a press conference for the Pride Center and launching Pride in general. And it was great. We had so many people show up.
I was going to say there was a lot of big names on the roster there.
Yep. The governor showed up. The lieutenant governor showed up. The treasurer of Connecticut showed up. Rosa DeLauro was there, spoke. Then we had a few alders. And then a few community members. So it was an amazing turnout. Oh, and the mayor, of course.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. Elliker gave a great speech. As always, he's always been a fervent supporter of the LGBTQ plus community, and he does really good stuff. I don't know why I left that screenshot there. Everybody knows where Jay is now in Puerto Rico. No, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I think that, given all the information that we've disclosed here on the show over the past, I would probably say 6 weeks, the efforts with Project Phoenix and all of those, today during the press conference, someone mentioned that it is the first time in Connecticut's in Connecticut nonprofit history that an organization like the New Haven Pride Center.
No, so this
like
is
something along the line. So
basically, the Project Phoenix, which raised $500,000 in 30 days, was the biggest fundraising effort or project in the history of Connecticut for any LGBTQ plus organization.
There you go. That's what it was, and it's huge.
Yeah,
so
it's insane. I do want to give a little shout out because Hope and myself were really lifted at this presser event. Pretty much every government official thanked me and Hope specifically for the charge, leading this charge. But there are two unsung heroes, not including all of the people that came out in the community to support the community foundation, the 43 donors that gave to this cause. But Chris Freemuth, who is a new board member, was the person who helped us close the gap with a gift of $265,000. One gift of $265,000. Hope and I raised half. He brought in the other half. And we could not have done it without him.
Right.
In addition, the treasurer of our board, Chloe, who built out a sustainable budget for the organization that we then presented and got these donors behind so that they would feel comfortable giving us these big dollars. And not only did she do that, but she kept us grounded through the process. So I wanted to give a little shout out to them.
And I think it's well earned. I mean, when you think about some of the great work that they did behind the scenes to get Project Phoenix to where it got to, and also some of the things that, for example, Chris is doing in front of the camera, right? Like he's taken the mantle of being the face of the process and presenting to people and saying, "Hey, come join us," right? He's amazing speaker. Like he's been posting on Instagram a lot, and I just think he does a really good job being a front-facing person. Trying to bring people in.
Yeah, and it was my favorite moment was when the lieutenant governor presented Hope and I with a proclamation from the governor's office.
Well, of course, it's going to be your favorite moment. It's something personal for you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And not only that, it's like you have to think about you guys worked your butts off. You deserve that fucking proclamation.
You know what? It's funny you say that because we've added a few board members and we continue to add board members over the next couple of months before Hope and I roll off. And one of the newest board members pulled me and Hope aside and Chloe aside and said, "I want you guys to know something. You went through a lot. You faced a lot of criticism, but you did the thing. And I need you to take a moment today to celebrate that."
And you should. And you should. And you did. You were showing me some pictures. Everybody looked happy. Everybody looked excited. Not only that, it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you and everyone else at the, on the board that supported the efforts of Project Phoenix for the New Haven Pride Center. And congratulations to the center, because that means the center remains open, or it's going to open when we have a new ED, and it'll be able to continue to provide important services to the communities in which it serves.
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say about it was, and I've said this on the show, we had reached a point where we thought we were done, we were closing, and Chloe, myself, and Hope made the choice to take the harder path. And Alderwoman Smith said today, "Thank you for choosing the harder path of rebuilding. You saved the Pride Center."
Right. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry for me.
This is why I didn't talk at the thing.
Yeah, yes.
I would have just been a fucking mess.
It happens. It happens. But, job well done to you, Hope, and everyone else. And, now it's we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah. So cool. So to our dear guest, Sabrina Owen, how are you, my dear?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Come on into that mic. Don't be afraid. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Monday. Happy Pride.
Yeah.
Happy Pride Month. A lot going on. So glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And
Thank you for
what an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I tell you, they went through hell and back. It's amazing to me that, we got to the $500,000, but they did it, so it's cool. But anyway, tell me about you. How are you? How has your week been?
Yeah, the week has been busy. Last week I did some traveling, work and that sort of thing. So my son is home from college, so it's been an adjustment. I went through a little bit of an adjustment being an empty nester, and that didn't last very long. And then now he's back home from UConn and messing the house up and eating all the food. So, yeah, that's where we are.
And still skinny as a rail.
Still skinny as a rail.
It's funny because when I was that age, I was also very, very slim, and I can eat someone out of a house.
Yes.
It's amazing how metabolism is a beautiful thing when you're young. Just wait.
If only I could have it back.
Yeah.
If only. You always wonder where that time, that moment in time where it went away.
Yeah.
And you're like, you stopped riding the bike as a kid or whatever, and you're like, I'm not going to do it today, and then you just never do it again.
Do you remember, because I think we all have that moment.
35.
35 for you. For me, I think it was right around, I know exactly. I was 27 and I started working at my job. And back then it was a very much smaller company than what it is today. and these fuckers would have feast like every week. They
The
were
bagels,
celebrating
the donuts.
something. Somebody banged a nail, we're throwing a party because we don't want you to be sad.
Yep.
And it was the Biaggettis and all of these very luscious dishes and very fattening dishes. And I tell you, within a year, I think I popped on like 50 or 60 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, for me, it's like whenever we have shows at the theater, everything's always catered all weekend. So I'm eating crap. Not necessarily crap, but like rich foods all weekend long. I think it was like the last show we did, they did a mac and cheese. And I think I had mac and cheese for every single day, like for 5 days in a row.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
I know.
Wow.
That's a lot of starch.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 35 for you, 27 for me. What about you?
I think it was probably around maybe 24. I was a flight attendant, and my roommate at the time had like a Kit Kat addiction. She'd put them in the refrigerator, and I just remember thinking about them. I'd be in bed, and I would be thinking about them. And then about 6 months in, my uniforms didn't fit anymore. I just became a total fat ass. I'm having to turn sideways to go down the aisle of the plane.
How?
I've actually wondered about that before, right? So bigger flight attendants, that's got to be tough.
It is tough.
Yeah. How long were you a flight attendant for?
About 3.5 years.
Okay. And how was that experience?
Oh, it was great. I was single and living my best damn life. I'm out there flying around. I was like, I'm bored. Let's go to Panama City and eat dinner. So I think when you're young and you're just out there doing whatever, it is an experience. I interviewed for that job having never been on a plane in my life.
Oh, wow.
So
How was that the first time?
Well, the first time I flew on a plane was for the interview. And so, I was scared, and obviously, and I went to Atlanta, which I thought was a great big city, and it was, but, it wasn't Nashville. So, I think in some part that job really shaped me. It changed me, and it made me independent, and taught me things that I probably wouldn't have otherwise known. And it kind of got me out of my shell. So,
Any crazy stories while
shit, I have so many.
What do they call that? The Mile High Club? It's like there's things happen.
Oh yeah, things definitely happen.
Yeah.
So I, oftentimes crew will ferry planes, right? So you don't really have passengers on it. You're just taking a plane from one place to another because you may have an early flight out. And I decided to date an air traffic controller who I later married. But he did flight, quite a bit of flights with me, to wherever I was going, and then the rest was history. But you see a lot of shit on there. I mean, you see a lot of things on the planes that you.
I anytime somebody mentions a plane to me, I go to there's this one episode. There used to be a series called Queer as Folk. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
No.
And Emmett used to date a very much older man than him. So, the guy was the daddy. Emmett was, the little Twinkie guy that was dating the older daddy. And they were flying, and they decided to go into the bathroom and start doing it.
Yeah.
And the guy dies on him on the plane.
We didn't get a lot in the bathroom. The bathrooms were really small, but we got a lot of, can we have a blanket?
Okay, so there was a flight that I took from, I'm just gonna say somewhere to somewhere, and it was a long flight because I don't want to give away who it was.
Okay.
But there was my seat was right next to a handicapped bathroom. There is plenty of room.
Well, not all planes may have those.
No, I know. This was a long flight, and I was like, this bathroom is big,
Spacious.
Yeah.
and I could take advantage of that right
Nicholas.
now.
What? Hold on. Were you the person?
Oh, he was definitely the person.
Just a quickie.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Get
listen,
in where
it
you fit in.
happens. Hey, listen, it happens.
Yeah.
So you are a Southern girl through and through,
Yeah.
right? You are born in
Born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, so you're a Nashville girl.
Born and raised in Nashville, moved to Atlanta. Actually, I did a little short stint in Dallas.
Really?
I did. I originally was based out of Dallas when I graduated flight attendant school. So I was in Dallas for a short period of time, and then Atlanta, and spent probably 23, 24 years in Atlanta. So Atlanta really feels like home. Nashville's where all of my family is, but Atlanta feels like home. And so yeah, it was great. Very different
Yeah.
here. but in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know you and we're going to talk about this. You literally you made a decision about right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
To make a significant change in your life, and it wasn't even all about you.
No, it was very little about me, and very much about my son.
Right.
And we've talked, and Tom and I've talked a lot about this. Yeah, so I lived, outside of Atlanta, in a very small, old school type of town. We'll just say that, where kids like him weren't necessarily accepted.
Right.
There was all types of things going on. He was getting older. He was going into middle school, and I really had become scared for his safety, to be honest. And so when I started looking at places, to move and the culture for the LGBTQ community, it just made sense. So I really picked the place that I thought he would be happiest, and then I carved the job out around it. That was secondary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to say, Connecticut is, and it has always been a champion for LGBTQ plus rights, trans rights, and that was very, very clear today when we had all those elected officials there talking about all the work they're doing both at the federal and state level. And Rosa said something today, which I think is so powerful given the fact that you moved here for your son. That 39 to 42% of people in the LGBTQ plus community think about committing suicide.
Right.
10 to 12% make an attempt, and 2 to 6%
Go
succeed.
through with that. Yeah.
And being able to bring your son into an affirming state could have maybe saved his life. You never know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I remember, so, there's no secret. Sabrina was my boss, right? She came into the company like a bat out of hell. And I was just like, who is this woman? She's got twang. She's a firecracker. I love this woman. And then, we collaborated over Teams because it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yep.
She was hired literally in 2020, right?
2022.
2022. So we were all still working, from home. And I'm like, who is this woman? And I had never met her. We hit it off through Teams, and we were doing our little messaging back and forth. And I was like, I really like this woman. And then she became my boss. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, and I have to tell you this, and I know I've told you this before, I tell you all the time, but this woman right here has been the best boss that I have ever had in my entire life, in any career that I have ever been.
I appreciate that.
And most likely will ever have. So, and I tell you, and she's this type of person that her door's always open, right?
Yep.
She's got an open door policy. And so I would walk by her desk and I was like, what you doing? She's like, come on in, sit down, let's have a chat. And we got to talking, and then she started talking to me about, her story, and telling me, that how she came here because she wanted, to be able to give her son, a much better future, a place, have him be able to grow up in a place where he can feel, loved, where he can feel accepted, and not have to worry about, his surroundings, etc. And then, we started talking, and we sort of kind of formed a bond around that, right? I'm a gay man. She's a woman. She made the ultimate sacrifice, literally left everything that she ever knew behind and came to somewhere you had never been.
No, had never been here.
Ever.
No, and I think, that decision was largely based on, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I had my best friend in the whole world who you've met is a gay guy, and we're incredibly close. And
he's a hoot.
He is. He's fantastic, and he is really great friends with a doctor, a psychologist and psychiatrist, or whatever she is. But she's very involved in taking in gay kids that have been kicked out of their homes, or whatever, the homeless gay kids really that, have come out, their parents aren't accepting, whatever the case is. And, it's really tragic what's happening to them. And a lot of them were suicidal. But I just remember we're sitting in a restaurant, and she said to me, don't be the parent who finds their kid hanging from a doorway. Mm-hmm. Don't be that parent. And it just resonated with me. I was never going to be that parent. It was never a question for me. I knew my son was gay from the time he could walk, talk, anything, hand on the hip, the sassiness. If he wouldn't have been gay, I would have been surprised. I would have been like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
100%. And when he
Yeah.
did tell me, I was like, I've been knowing that.
Yeah.
But it really resonated in my head just how important that was to have that support for him. And so he and I came and visited during the interview process and that sort of thing. It was him. Then we came. It was on Thanksgiving Day. It was cold, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing all the flags and all the different things that we just did not see.
Yeah.
In the town we were in. And then when I enrolled him in the high school, the local high school, we sat down with the principal and the vice principal and a couple others, and I went through the story. And I'll never forget that we're all sitting sort of in this circle, and the principal says to me, "He's safe here. This is where he's safe." And it was this big group hug, and I just remember the tears coming, and I really believed it, and he was. And then I remember, that was like a couple months went by, and then it was Pride Month, and one of his teachers texted me, "Happy Pride Month," and sent a picture of her room. She had flags up, and I thought, that's when I knew I'm in the right place, regardless of the job, the career path, whatever. That none of that mattered. That moment right there is what mattered, and that made it all worth it.
Right. And that's an incredible thing because, again, arriving somewhere, you know no one here.
No.
But however, she has had no problem whatsoever, like I said, meeting people because it doesn't matter where she goes.
Yeah.
She walks in like a bat out of hell and she just gets the crowd going. It's like, this woman is incredible. You are truly
I appreciate that.
incredible. And, your son is truly, I would say he is truly lucky to have a mother like you.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not something that, I think about, for example, some of the challenges that Nick had when he was growing up, right? And, having to consider things like chosen family.
Not
Your
consider.
your son doesn't have to go looking for a chosen family because he has one of the most important people in his life would always be your mother. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah,
Like for me,
definitely.
my mother is extremely important. If I didn't have the support of my mother, I would probably be devastated.
Yeah.
And I think that that decision you made really truly allowed him to just flourish and just fly.
Yeah, sometimes I've had to reel him back a little bit, especially when we were down south, because it was just never a topic in my house, right? So, people don't look at me and go, "Oh, well, she's straight."
Yeah.
So I never felt like I needed to go, "Oh, well, he's gay." It just was.
Yeah.
And, that didn't come without family members and, grandparents or whatever saying, "Oh, put him in basketball and he won't be so girly," or "Put him in baseball and he won't be, he's the kid over there doing the high kicks and he's the cheerleader,"
Yeah.
None of that doesn't make you not gay, right?
Right. I played
And-
baseball in school.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. But for him, it was so normal in our house
Yeah.
for him to just be him. But there were those conversations of, when you walk outside this house, it may, people may not support you the same. I'll be honest with you, he just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He just don't give a shit.
It's interesting, because I talked to some of my friends who, are of color, and they have to have conversations about that to their kids. And it's so similar in states where you came from to have conversations about safety with your LGBTQ plus kids. I mean, even in Connecticut growing up here, there are some times when I'm holding somebody's hand and I'm like, just keeping my eyes going.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. But I think, whether you live in Tennessee, Texas, California, Connecticut, New York, or, in the middle of America, there's always going to be that one idiot
Yep.
that, just crosses the line between you can't mind your fucking business and
Yep.
just let me live my life and you live yours. And so you have to have, four eyes around you at all times. And that's true anywhere.
Yeah.
However, in communities like ours, you see people are a little bit more open to being themselves because you feel the difference, you know?
Yeah, and to be quite honest with you, I would say probably 95% of the people that donated to Project Phoenix, and I'm talking significant donations, I mean $500,000 from 43 people, were not a part of the community. Are they allies? Yeah, they're allies, but like seeing people step up like that in the Connecticut community was like, no, we're not letting this service go.
Yep.
We're not letting the Pride Center disappear. We're making our stand, no matter what the federal government is saying or doing or trying to take away from the community. And it was just I think that's why I get so emotional about it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because, you know, I didn't think it was possible. And to know that, like, we do have that community here. It's nice.
You know, I think I know I'm probably more heightened to it. So, for example, when I go somewhere with my son, I will watch people, and you're exactly right. There's always that one or two, you know, that's going to look at him because he's got on some little camisole. You know, he's a very feminine, and he loves the nails and all this different stuff. That's fine. It hurts nobody. It hurts nobody. And so, you know, and it happened just like a week ago. We were in a restaurant. We're walking through carrying our food, and I see somebody looking, and I can't help it. I immediately just stare them down. You know, it's just the mom and me.
How does he react to that?
He don't give a shit. Doesn't faze him at all.
No.
Doesn't faze him.
I have had the privilege to be in the company of your child, and I will tell you, super sweet, super funny, fun, young individual, lots of life. You know, it's like, and any interaction I've ever had with your son has always been a positive one, and I think that's a reflection of his upbringing and the things that you teach him. Not only the things that you teach him, the freedom that you allow him to have, which is very important, right?
Yeah.
Because you've shown him from a very young age that, hey, this is a safe space, and I am your mother, and I love you, and you can be whatever you want. I will support you 100%, and I will also defend you like a mama bear to anyone who might be able to, you know, like potentially have bad thoughts about,
and he gets that from his sister as well. I mean, we, you know, in our home, it was very supportive. And then, of course, for me, even when you are divorced and that sort of thing, you know, I absolutely, in my dating life even, you know, had men that said, I can't date you because you have a gay son. Or, you know, your son plays with dolls and mine plays with baseballs. And so they, you know, they can't play together. Okay, well, bye. I mean, that's the end of you. Yeah. So, you know, that's a immediate no and deal breaker. So I've always made sure that the people that are super present in his life are supportive. If not, then they're not going to be in our inner circle. I mean, they're just not. And my family, my side of the family, have been fantastic. I mean, you know, it was just, here it is. I never hit it. There was no, you know, there was just never a question. And nobody, it's just a non-issue.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the other side of his family has struggled more with it. In fact, I think they're in complete denial.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you take one look at my son, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It is obvious. It was obvious when he was 5. You know, he like Thomas the Train. You line up the green one, the pink one, the blue one. He picks the pink one every time.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even know they made a pink Thomas the Train.
Oh yeah, the Rosie. He loved the Rosie. Yeah. So, you know, or he would take towels or blankets and make these long dresses, and you know, other kids are drawing shit in school. He was sketching dresses, elaborate dresses, at a very young age. And you know, I mean, I don't give two shits what people come up with, whatever their own ideology, and all of this is about, you know, gays, and that's a choice, and maybe you'll choose something else. And you know, I remember sort of my first interaction with a person. It was a coworker back years ago, and he was a gay guy, and I had not really been around that many gay people at the time. And I remember we were driving down the interstate, and he went, "Sabrina, did you know I was gay?" And I went, "Yeah, I did. I kind of suspected it by the Winnie the Pooh shirt or whatever it was that he had. It was a Tigger shirt, I think."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you know, it's really not my choice, but you know, and now later, now that I'm educated and I live that with I cringe at me saying that. It wasn't his choice either.
Yeah.
It just was. And so for me, I just wonder now where that person is, how that made him feel, for me to go, yeah, it wouldn't be my choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I've had people say that to my son, I'm like, well, it wasn't his choice either. It just happened. I mean, he wouldn't choose to feel different or choose to, some people do, I think, for fun or whatever, an experiment or whatever. But in the case of my son, hell no, he was born that way.
Have you ever had parents come to you looking for advice?
Not really. No,
Interesting.
I really haven't.
And you know what the unfortunate thing about that is that I believe that because of your actions, right? Not because of the words that come out of your mouth that, people may think, oh my God, perfect, whatever, like you know what to say. No, your actions, right?
Yeah.
Your life choices, the choices that you've made in the last 5 years alone make you qualified, in my opinion, to have any parent be able to say, hey, let's talk, even if it's just to talk. Tell me, how do you deal with this? And what are your thoughts on this? I think you're more than qualified to be able to address that.
Yeah.
If someone ever did.
I think to myself, like, if there were somebody like you, and it definitely probably wouldn't have happened when I was a kid, but if there were somebody like you that my mom could use as a resource, or my father could have used as a resource, I wouldn't have lived in a trailer for 2.5 months.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I think that it's so powerful that you took the moment to live in love and educate yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, don't cry. Don't.
I've just been emotional all day.
You really have been.
Exactly. So it's thank you, because it's mothers like you that make the world a better place. It's mothers like you that really truly show that it is possible to have a loving and affirming space at home, to have loving parents that will support you and allow you to flourish and become the human that you're meant to become.
Yep.
And you allowing him that freedom, to explore and move in his own realm of existence is a beautiful thing. I wish, like I said, my mother has always been very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. But I have not always had, that type of acceptance in a lot of other areas of family life, and growing up for me, in the late 80s, early 90s, obviously the challenges were more,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
than they are today. It's a whole different world today.
Yeah.
Than it was, 25, 30 years ago. I can't believe I can actually say that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Pride Center is going to be 30 years
Yeah.
old, 30 years old this year. Like, the resources weren't there when we were younger.
No,
Right.
no,
Right.
no, they weren't. And, I think, too, it's been really eye-opening for me because, like I said, I really wasn't around that many gay people or trans people or, or any of that growing up. I remember walking through the grocery store as a kid, and my dad said, oh, there's 2 lesbians. And I'm like, what's a lesbian?
Yeah.
You couldn't Google shit back then. And I was like, oh, those 2 girls. And I'm like, I was just mesmerized by it. And then I married and had a gay stepdaughter who did come to me and talk to me about, how she felt and this and that and the other. And then she was struggling with her mom. Her dad was incredibly supportive, I think, because she saw me be with my son. Kind of in the same situation with, my fiance has a trans child. Then, I think he's struggled a little bit with. It's new to him. And, but I'm looking at, pictures from this kid from years ago, and I'm thinking, you all missed it. You missed it.
Right.
You just weren't paying attention. It's been there all along. You just weren't paying attention. And I think that's what happens with a lot of parents is they are just sort of in denial,
Yeah,
or
oh,
it's
yeah.
a phase, or they're going to grow out of it, or whatever the case is. And it's not. So I think that's the reason a lot of people, just sort of hold it in, or they hide, or they whatever. And even now, my son, and he's just sort of entering the dating world. And
Yeah.
the first question I ask him is, is the kid out? And he's dating somebody right now, and it seems to be happy. And but I think that might even not be a deal breaker for him. But I think it's really important that whoever he's in a relationship with has that same support.
Right.
But I also explained to him that not everybody has that. Maybe you're the support. Maybe they get that support in other areas or from other people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I walked in Atlanta Pride parades and given hugs. I'm walking in the Boston one in a few weeks. And I think it's, I walked in the New York City Pride parade, not last year, but the year before, by myself. I just showed up all dressed. My son did not go. Nobody went with me. It was just me, and I didn't care. I'm gonna be out there celebrating.
Free mom hugs.
Yep, free mom hugs to anybody who wants it, and dress up, live your life, dance all the way down Fifth Avenue. I love it so much, and so, and I think too, having my gay friends, especially my men gay friends, have helped me sort of shape and have those conversations with my son about, important shit as he moves into adulthood.
Right.
And how to conduct yourself and those conversations that I don't think he really wants to be having with mom.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember, at one point, I think we were talking about prep, right?
Yep.
And I said, not that, he may have not been before, but, he's moving into, your son is going to college.
Yep.
And you really have to start talking about some of the, newer, more innovative treatments that are out there to safeguard.
Yes.
And so we had that conversation before. And, the thing for me, it's like I also remember too, it's like when you said to me, he's going to college. I'm going to be an empty nester. And I'm like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about not being able to sort of kind of protect and wrap your hands around every single aspect of what he does?
I feel very differently about it than what I thought I would.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you why. He's got a thick skin. He has got a thick skin. And when I say he don't give a shit what people think about him, he will rock a tank top up to here, a halter top, and a purse, and not give a shit what anybody thinks. And so, he's not a small guy either, as you know. I mean, he's a 6'3" kid.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he's tall.
He's
very tall.
He's very tall. He sort of has this presence. He's very confident, and I'm like, you know what? I just didn't worry about him, and he has such supportive friends. I mean, he's really got a core group of friends, and not just friends, but also their families.
Right.
And I've had mothers of his friends that have said, we're so happy that Bray's here, and he's invited to all the brothers and the sisters' birthday parties and all this type stuff, and really has become a part of these friend group and their family as an extension. And so that's not always the case. Sometimes it's like people don't want their kids hanging out with the gay kid. We did run into a little bit of that at college, where there was a kid whose parent did not want him rooming with my son. So, my solution to that was move your son the fuck out then.
Yeah.
Because that's all you can
Because
do.
we're not going anywhere.
I mean, I'll tell you how diversified his friend roster
No,
is.
I think I just want to go back to, well, then move your fucking son out then.
Right? Yeah.
Out you go. But I'll tell you how diversified, as far as like his friends are. So I was fortunate enough to be invited to the celebration of his graduation. And when you look out in all the tables, Sabrina went all out, catered the whole 9 yards. I think we did it at SBC, right? And, your best friend came up from down south. I was there. A couple of people were there, and when I look at the sea of tables of high schoolers that were sitting there, I mean, you've got the chubby kid, which would have been me back in high school. You've got the jock over here and the girls over there, and the diversity of friendship that your son has been able to cultivate is very impressive. Because when I was in school, it was cliques.
Yes.
Right? Like most gay boys would only hang around with women. I mean, I'm talking about jocks, football players. This one plays baseball. That one is athletic. The
He
other
is
one.
very much like me in that area.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
does. He's just friends with everybody. It doesn't really matter. I don't think he gets intimidated by their status, their group, or anything else. I have kids in my house all the time, and they're of all shapes and sizes. Some are, the class president, the prom king, the whatever. You just never know. And he's always been that way. I remember back when he was younger, when we were still living in Georgia, we lived near this little water park. And I had him a birthday party there, and these random ass people just kept showing up. Like, I'm here for Bray's birthday party. One was just like the lady that worked at the Dollar General. Like, who the fuck? Why is the checkout girl from the Dollar General at the birthday? And he's like, oh, I invited her. I was like, how the fuck do you know that lady? And so here she comes with her 3 kids. And we always called him like the town mayor because it was just these random ass people, like somebody 3 streets over. So that's always been really a gift of his.
Yeah.
And I do think he and I are a lot alike in that way. In school, I was the cheerleader and all that. But my friend group was very diverse and always has been.
Right. Well, his certainly is, because let me tell you that to see that beautiful scenery, before my eyes, I was just like, I would have never been able to have this.
Yeah.
And so, and again, it's a testament to how you raise your child, and also how he is allowed to live in his truth. So college, interesting. So how are you feeling about it though? I don't think we ever answered that question. Like, once he left the house, like, did you have any trepidation at the beginning? Did you finally settle into it?
It's weird because the week that he left, I had already sort of gone through this with my daughter, right? And she's in Florida, and she went to college and went to grad school and stayed in Florida and got married. And so I'd already sort of been through it, but he was my last one. He was like the rock, he was here. It was just sort of me and him for a long time after divorce and this and that. And so, it was really messing with my head. Like, here I am, I'm going to be by myself. I got to get some friends, and, I got to get out there.
And then one day you walk into a bookstore.
Right. Yeah, we'll get there. But, he still came home a lot. I'll say that. And I felt good about him being gone. But the next week, I had somebody else come live with me who was the chaperone for the exchange students from Madrid. And he was with me for a month and a half. And he was a gay guy from Spain, which was just so ironic. And we just hit it off, and we're now besties, and I'm going to go visit him in Madrid. And it was just the perfect timing, I think. And I needed him, he needed me, and we were just, and even me hearing his story and sort of the reason he was doing all this traveling around was, I felt like an escape from, his non-acceptance from his family.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember he and I sitting outside by the fire pit so many nights through the month of September, and just talking about it. He was brilliant. He was a motivational speaker. He was a teacher. He does all this great work in Spain. He travels all over the U.S. He's really involved with these kids, and they're studying abroad. And it was so unfortunate because he has so much to give, and he would talk to me a lot. His mother passed away at a pretty young age. And then his dad was just not really, he was always, the brother would bring the girlfriend over. He'd be really excited, but, he couldn't really bring anybody over because he was gay. And so there was that. But it was a filler, I think, too. It was good timing.
Yeah.
And then, Bray killed it in college. He killed him. And I don't know that he was in the right place, and I'll tell you because he was down in Stanford. And I don't think it was big enough for him. Mm-hmm. It wasn't big enough for him. He's got a big personality, and I think he would have been better in a bigger campus. And I do think he'll do better eventually. He's just got this presence about him, and he's very positive. But I got a little worried about him. I think maybe he got a little depressed, and he had a very small circle of friends, and I started seeing him come back home to the group of friends, his core group, more and more and more. And so, and that's something I keep a really close eye on. How's your mental health, and how are you doing with all of this? And college is just weird. You move out of your nice house into a shitty dorm
Yep.
with a complete stranger. And in this case, 5 other kids. He was in, a dorm with 5 other kids, some of which didn't really even speak good English. And they were messy as hell. And, there was a lot going
Can you
on.
hear from this side?
Yeah. Well, no.
Flip it.
You have to flip it. I was gonna say, I thought you were doing that for a reason.
No. I just thought it was like that. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. It didn't matter to me, but it must have done that when I put it on.
Much better?
Yeah, it's a lot better. Now, hell, I'm in business now.
You can hear in 3D.
I can.
No, it's incredible. So he's thinking about coming back home, and obviously, there's some changes happening in your life right now. How has he been, with all of that?
He's been great. He's incredibly supportive of me and what makes me happy. And so, in October, and I think probably for the first time, maybe he feels, I've dated here and there, and I've dated one other guy probably a little more seriously, but not to this degree. And I think he feels seen in the house, and I think that was a problem. Even when I was married before, I think he was there, but he wasn't really seen or heard. And I even remember there were conversations with my ex-husband about, maybe ask him how his day is sometimes. He was just kind of a shadow there, and and so it was always sort of me and him, and that really bothered me. It bothered me for a lot of years, actually. How's your day going, or how's this, or what's going on with school, and I see that in my fiance. I see him asking these questions and genuinely giving a shit on what he's up to, and he's even said to me, how's he doing since school? And, he wrapped up the first year, and, all these type questions. And so I think he's like really aware too. But we're in a good space right now. And, and he's doing good. He's venturing out, like I said, into the dating world, and which is exciting, I guess. And I've never seen him. He's never introduced a guy to me before.
We'll get there.
But I mean, I can't imagine it would be weird for me. I mean, I go and stay the night with my gay best friend and his husband, and I love it. And
I introduced my parents to one person, and that was I only did it because I was sort of forced. It's a long story, but I remember one year for Thanksgiving I went home, and this was the year I was with Matt, and both my brother and sister had partners, and my parents invited them, and they didn't invite Matt. I'll never forget that Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I threw a plate of food against the wall. It was great. It was a great year.
Yeah, it sounds like something Trish would do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very melodramatic. Wow. Played against the wall. It happens. No.
Well, they learned.
No. But I will tell you. Well, not tell you, but I just want to say thank you.
No, I
you.
appreciate that.
Not for me, but because of the amazing work that you're doing, without even realizing it. It makes all the difference
That makes me get a tear.
for someone who
Welcome
is
to the
so
club.
young. Yeah. It truly does. It truly does. And as someone, I have been on this earth for 47 now, 46, 47. I don't remember.
47.
And it's I have seen supportive parents before, but you should win an award.
Yeah, he took it a step further.
Because when you leave everything you've ever known to all for your child to have an opportunity to just be who they are, that is commendable. It is incredible, and congratulations.
Can I ask, was there like a catalyst moment that you were like, I think we might need to do this?
Yeah, and I know exactly when the moment was. I had gone to Nashville for Christmas, and my mom had gotten my son exactly what he wanted, and it was a Barbie Dream House. And we had to hide the Barbie Dream House when we got back home from the other side of the family, his dad's side. And so those little things started piling up.
Yeah.
Where I felt like, more and more we were having to hide the Barbies, or more and more I was saying, oh, we're going to this event at this side of the family, or this event, so you can't wear that, or you can't take that toy, or you can't take. And then there was just this sort of this light bulb of, no, I'm not going to buy into that. And so, I came to Maine during COVID. I was walking down the street. I saw a meter, had a tag on it, said Avangrid. And I was like, this looks like a nice place to live. I see rainbow flags everywhere. And that really just sort of started my wheels turning. And that's when I really knew. And I used to go to New York City a lot. I mean, I was in New York almost every Christmas. I think just because I really was burnt out on the traditional Christmas. I wanted to buy my kid what he wanted. He wanted Barbies. And so when I had all these people at my house, we almost had to have like 2 Christmases. Like, I'm going to give you this stuff while nobody's here.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to give you this stuff in front of other people. And then, there just came a day where I was like, you know what? Fuck that. If you're going to come to my house, you're going to watch them get Barbies. And if you don't want to watch them get Barbies, then don't come to my house.
I think that's so beautiful and powerful, because what you did was acknowledge that those moments were creating shame.
Yes.
And when you create shame, that's what's that is what triggers kids to think about suicide. Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough.
Right.
I'm not right. I'm wrong. But the fact that you were like, no, we're not hiding anymore.
Yeah.
So this that you're doing right now, all of that, all that emotion that you have built on your face right now, that was me driving home the day we had that conversation in her office. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, who is this woman? Where did she fucking come from? Like, can we clone her and just start giving her out everywhere? Yeah. Like, seriously. Like, that was me. That was me. And to me, it was just, we had been meaning, since the day probably that you were hired, I did this podcast, and I was just like, we have to tell the story, and we haven't really had an opportunity to connect and get together and sit. And today I just texted, I was like, you know what? It's like Jay's in Puerto Rico. It's a really good opportunity it's Pride Month. It is the first day of Pride. I want to talk about something affirming. I want to talk about something that, is uplifting and showcase something that is just so positive. And I couldn't think of any other person. I was just like, what are you doing today?
Yeah, I was actually really excited when you texted me.
So I was like, I literally said to her, I said, I was like, let me see where
I think you said, are you in town?
I was like, hola chica, are you in town? And she goes, I am. And I said, are you free around 5:30? And then I told her about the show. She was like, sure, I can. Sure. Send me your address. I was like, yeah, sure. And here we are. It's I've been wanting to do this.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful.
And
it's been nice.
And please come and sit with us
Whenever.
as many times as you want, whenever you want. If you want to share stories.
If your son wants to come.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if Bray wants to come and sit with us and talk about his experience, talk about,
He would love that, I'm sure.
how he's, because I'm sure that there are times that he's wanting girl.
I would like to hear his story. I think it's a little unique because a lot of the stories that I hear from, you or even, stories that you have are very different, I think, than what his stories are, because I think, he's only seen a fraction of that struggle. He has, only because he's had such a safe environment at home.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, not just from me. I mean, his sister will fuck you up if you say a word. I mean, she would. And from a very young age. I mean, I walked in school and she had some kid jerked up, because he made some comment. But, and she's probably one of his, if not his biggest supporter.
Yeah.
And, and so I'm so thankful for that. But, I think when it came to both of my children, I grew up in a home that was probably racist, probably, homophobic, all the things that, back in the 80s that a typical white family was. And then I moved to Atlanta, and I I remember I got here and I went, where's all the Black people? Because I was just, I had become accustomed to different people, different, strokes, different folks, and, the gay community, and had gotten really involved in that and saw those signs in my son. And so it was definitely different than how I was brought up. But that's where it starts, right? Is breaking that mold. And then it was me going back to my family and going, hey, you know what? Those same ideas that I grew up with stops today.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna pivot, and this is where I remember I had a gay cousin growing up, and I remember there was these whispers about him. Well, he's the gay one, and he was a little bit older than me. There may be those whispers now. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Anybody can ask me.
Is he still with us? Yeah.
Yeah,
Does he own a steamer?
No, I think he's like a filmmaker in Chicago or
Yeah,
something.
it's an inside joke.
Yeah, it's an.
I'll have to tell you about the steamer. Actually, it's something that we've mentioned before. So Hope has Hope, who sits with us, has a cousin, I believe, in Texas, right?
Yep.
And she went over to stay over his house because she had to go back home for Thanksgiving or whatever. And then she was just like, I need a steamer. He's like, well, I don't have one. She's like, what kind of gay are you?
Right.
Well, not a steamer or an iron, right?
None.
So.
I was just like, oh no, that's a problem.
Oh no, when I go to my gay best friend's house, I mean, he's got the little thing out that you set your luggage on, like in a hotel. I mean, he's got that, breakfast cooking in the morning, in the buffet. So, yeah, what kind of gay is he?
He's a hoot. So much fun. So much
So
fun.
my last question for you: if there was anybody listening to this podcast, a mom that's questioning or struggling with the idea of creating an affirming space, what would you say to them?
I would say, one, come to terms with, how you handle that as a parent. And because I think as a parent, you and I've thought about this a lot. I remember thinking, I'm getting a boy and he's the only grandson. He gets to carry on the name and, all these type things.
That could still be true.
It is true. It is true. And so I think you have to really sort of take those things away from it. And you just have to love your child regardless. Mm-hmm. And not just love them and not just tolerate it, right? You got to put in the work. It was it came very easy for me, but I don't know that it comes easy for in fact, I know it doesn't come easy for every parent, and sometimes that may mean seeking help from others and professionals or whatever the case is. But for me personally, I made a safe space in my home and in my relationship with my son, and I made sure others around him also treated him that way.
Yeah.
And so there's never, I've caught myself do it. I've done it many, many, many times, and it stems from where we came from, which I'm really trying to break this, where I will say, oh, well, he's a gay kid, so, I may not have grandchildren. Oh, well, and now I look back on that, I'm like, I don't have to explain that. I don't have to explain shit to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't have to say he's this. I don't have to say he's going to do that. I don't have to. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can be whatever he wants to be. If he decided tomorrow he wanted to be a girl, it wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I would support him through and through.
Yeah.
So I think for, any other mother, father, parent, cousin, brother, grandparent, or whatever who's struggling with that, I think they have to do the work on themselves first, because it's going to show.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to show.
Did you have to be patient with yourself while you were doing the work?
No.
I love that.
No.
Well, she has no filter.
She's a badass.
She has no filter.
Yeah.
This is like when I tell you, it's like, nope, we're not doing that today.
I will say to others out there listening, it is okay to be patient with yourself while you're doing the work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, of course. The important thing is that you do the work, right? If you are going to say, hey, listen, I'm going to try to navigate this and I'm going to try to support my child, my brother, my sister, my mother, a parent, anyone, or a friend, if you're really going to make an effort, that's what counts.
Yeah.
You know that you're making an effort. You're going to make mistakes on your way there. That is important to recognize. And that's not failure. That's you working towards, you're going through the stepping stones needed to get to that place, right?
Yeah.
And so be kind to yourself, but also be mindful and don't be a prick.
Yeah, I think I don't think I had to be patient with myself as much as I had to be patient with other people. And I'll be honest with you, that was hard.
Yeah.
My being patient with other people to come around, or to understand that this is not a phase or a choice or any of that was the difficult part for me, and still is, and to some degree, and and I still live that to some degree, and patience in people that are very close to me who are experiencing this now with a child, of this is not something they're going to grow out of.
Yeah.
And so this is not anything you're going to change. In fact, the change, in my opinion, and I see this firsthand with my son, with his grandparents sort of in denial, I have seen him pull away and become distant, because that's what they do. And so, he's 19 now. I've known he was gay since he was, a year old.
Yeah.
And if he walked in the room right now, you would know it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no question. And so my patience with others has been the hard part. And it's not to say that that's a bad thing. I think they're entitled to that. But if there's no progress in that patience, or there's no progress in that acceptance, that's when my patience runs thin.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to be patient with myself when it came to forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember my parents, and I was very close with Rosie and Johnny, my grandparents. And my parents were, don't tell them.
Yep.
They'll cut you out of the will. Don't tell them.
I hear that same thing.
And then I was living in Massachusetts, and it was New Year's Eve one night. And I called them, and I was like, I had a couple cocktails. And I was like, Grandma, I'm gay. And she's like, I know. Grandpa and I have known since you were a baby.
Yeah. Tube socks.
And I was like,
crop
what the
top.
fuck?
Not the tube socks.
Like, they don't care.
Right.
Like, I mean, some people do care, but
Right.
it was like that moment I was like, oh, now I've got to work on forgiving my parents.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the challenge for me, like having such accepting grandparents, right? What happened to your parents? Like, for me, I always think that, as a human being, you go through life, you meet people. Some of these people that you meet will shape who you become. They will shape, how you interact with the environment in which you're in. And they're very critical in shaping your path, right? Some you let go, some you keep. But we're all typically a product of our environment, right? And so as a father and a mother, if you are very caring, very loving, like this woman here that sits beside us today, you eventually absorb a lot of that energy, a lot of that, mentality. And so you become a product of the environment in which you were allowed to grow in.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how having such loving, accepting grandparents resulted in the friction that you had with your mom and dad.
Well, I mean, it was much later
Right.
when I told my grandparents than when I came out at 15.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but we knew.
Yeah.
We know. I mean,
I get it. I get it.
yeah. It was sad. Nick has been through it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we all have.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you were raised Italian Catholic. My dad at one point was very beholden to the church. Unlike my grandfather was, which I'm not sure where that came from. It may have been when he lost his sister.
Right.
But I think all of those ideals, and like, again, the environment,
Right.
he was then, I think for him, and we've had this conversation, we cried a lot, but for him, it was more of, he felt shame when he had to justify or, I don't know.
Explain to others?
Explain to others. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I will tell you that one of the things that I'm most grateful for my mom is never enforcing or forcing religion on us. Both of my grandmothers were very, very faithful, very Catholic, very strict when it came to that. My mother, on the other hand, she reared all her 3 boys church free.
Yeah, I think that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's a personal choice. For me, for you, for my son, he was baptized as a kid, and that's because he wanted to be. But it's a personal choice where he goes with that. Yeah.
Right.
And I also think too, I know we got to wrap it up, but I think too, it's like, yes, and right? You can be religious, you can be spiritual, you can find an affirming church.
Oh yeah. And here, there's
So many.
so many,
No,
many.
But we also have to keep in mind too that there's a difference between being religious and being spiritual, right?
And using religion as a weapon versus using it as something to uplift and build community.
Which some denominations unfortunately do that a lot. We happen to live, in an area that has a lot of really affirming,
Yep.
spaces for you to be spiritual, and I think it's a beautiful thing for those who.
I mean,
who
let's
want
be
to.
honest. More than half the people coming out of the divinity school at Yale are gay.
Yeah.
I met 3 of them today. Okay.
Well, I can tell you, I have never seen a church down south with a rainbow flag.
Oh.
Never. And where I live, there are probably 4 within walking distance of my house.
True story. I think it comes out of Alabama, which, by the way, our Gay Talk phone is from Alabama. I have to tell you that story. I think there is a house that is across a Baptist church that the church obviously is very anti-gay, and this person chose to paint their house the color of the rainbow
Really?
that sits right in front of the
love
church. So they have to. The irony is like, it's amazing.
I love it.
But because you haven't heard it, I will tell you. So when we first started the show, which was almost a decade ago, we were looking for a phone number, and I wanted the phone number to end in gay talk. So I bothered the guy at AT&T. I said, you have to find me a number that ends in 429-8255. That's the number. And he's like, I don't know where we're going to find it. We were looking in every state. You know where he found it?
Wow. Alabama.
Alabama. That was the only state that it was available, and I took it. So that's our phone number. It's in Alabama.
That's great.
Phone number. But anyway, we had so many different things that we thought we were going to talk about, but I think that, given the tone and the direction in which this episode went, I am absolutely thrilled and happy that you were able to be here and share your story and share just an incredible person that you are. Thank you for being.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being the mother that you are, the friend that you are, and the incredible, in your face, no, we're not doing that today. kind
Force
person that you
of
are.
nature.
Yeah, she is. She is. She's a little storm. So, all right. So let's just go straight through. You want to do Mama Kim's Minute?
Well, you got to do on this day in gay history.
Oh, do I? Oh, yes, I do. Do I get a little thingamajiggy?
No.
Oh, where is that? No, you do Mama Kim's first, and then I do on this day in gay history.
Oh, that's right. I'm
All right.
sorry.
Do you
My
want your
bad.
love?
Yes. Thank you. All right, everybody. He launched a two-spirit advocacy org from the back of a truck. It grew into something much bigger. Number 2, actress Marcia Gay Harden calls raising queer kids a fabulous life experience. Number 3, a surprising country just topped Europe's trans rights rankings.
You okay? You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, we'll post those stories on tonight's post. You can click on the link, read those stories. That was Mama Kim's Minute. And now we go to On This Day in Gay History. When? June 1st, 2009. Who? President Barack Obama. We miss you. He signed the Proclamation 8387, officially declaring June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month.
So that's the proclamation we got today for Connecticut.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Why did it take this long?
I don't know.
Wow.
Like, for real. So anyway, the proclamation recognized the contributions of LGBTQ plus Americans and reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to equality, dignity, and fairness. And it marked the first Pride Month proclamation issued by the Obama administration and became a significant milestone in the continuing fight for LGBTQ plus rights. And shall I keep going?
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, if you love our show, you can go subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. There, by subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your web browser or your device as soon as the episode is published. And you can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, our listeners, can support the show with a monetary pledge donation. Those donations can be in any denomination of $1 or more, and we seriously thank you for it. Nick?
All right. Thank you to our guest, Sabrina Owen, for joining us and sharing your incredible journey with your son and for just being you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Nick, you want more love?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right, everybody. Get the Future Method and all other products today. All products are doctor developed, can clean out without hurting your bum, take confidence anywhere with the anal powder packs, increase your stretch goals with the 3-piece anal glass dilation or silicone kit, get long-lasting pleasurable glide with the silicone anal lube, and get all the information you need with Dr. G's book, But Seriously. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum accessories today.
So, you still got lube left?
Yeah, at home.
Yeah. Are you gonna? Do you want any of those toys?
Wait, you got more?
They're massive. I can't use them.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying, you gotta meet.
I was not expecting this part.
So, okay, I will tell you, we have a butt doctor that joins us once in a blue moon, and
That's great.
And we call him our butt whisperer.
Yeah.
And so he has a line. It's called Future Method. It's all about men's health and butt health and all that
just
good
men,
stuff.
but yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's awesome.
Well, now Bray has a birthday coming up next week. Now I know what to
Yeah, I mean, he's got really great products.
Yeah.
The book is great. And he is, a gay man that saw a need in our community. A lot of doctors didn't know how to help people when they got hurt. And so he created a whole bunch of different methods to help if you find yourself with a fissure or a hemorrhoid or like that could lead to worse things down the line. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, he's incredible, and he's a no holds bar. The F-bombs drop when we're talking. We've had a relationship with Dr. G now for like
years,
almost like 6 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, keep the book, take it home. We have another one.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Great. Fantastic.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, our show is available on our website, gaytalk20.com, under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, and now Spotify. Nick?
All right. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Gay Talk 2.0, Instagram at Gay Talk 2.0. You can email us at gaytalk2.0@gaytalk20.com. Tom?
I'll try not to fuck it up. Ladies and gents, if you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website. Click on the Contact Us tab that's located at the top of the web browser. There, you can leave comments. You can suggest topics. You can submit a question for the cast or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us any questions you may have on our voicemail, and we can answer those questions for you on the show. Our phone number is 334-GAY-TALK, Alabama. And if you need all of the digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget that we do stream live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can access that live stream the day of recording by becoming a Patreon supporter. On that note, again, Sabrina, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Ladies and gents, that is our show. Thank you, and have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.